Woo! I look crusty, busty, and musty, but I promise I'm not musty. But I definitely look crusty, but that's only because, you know, today has been one of them days where I've just been crying, but it's not from a place of being a victim. It's from a place of being processed and from a place of me allowing myself to be before God as an offering, exposed, basically just saying, like, don't just take the good parts of me, don't just take the beautiful parts of me, God, but take the ugly parts, take the parts that I have hidden, take the shameful parts, take the parts, you know what I mean, that I don't want nobody else to see, take the parts that I think and appear to be failure, take the parts that I think and appear to be victory. Whatever it is, God, just take it. And that's me being in a very vulnerable and transparent place before God. And being in that place, you know, has caused me to do a lot of crying. Anybody that knows me personally, knows I'm not a crier. But I have these seasons in life that when I cry, I cry. It's like I can go several years and not shed a tear, and if people know me or if they've been around me, they'll probably say, oh, she don't show no emotion. And you know, I usually don't, because throughout my whole life, my life has taught me how to soldier on. But then there are seasons that I shed and I cry, and today has been one of those days. I pray it's not a full season, I pray it's just today. But today has been one of those days. So, you know, I have been through a lot with Dare to Have Hair and every aspect that Dare to Have Hair is. You know, Dare to Have Hair God has used Dare to Have Hair. Not only did he birth it out of me, but he used it to process me. And there has been some good, glorious, beautiful parts of that process. But baby, let me tell you, there also has been some ugly, strenuous, you know, parts. And I have, you know what I mean, looked at those parts as shame. I have looked at those parts as defeat. And those parts have bruised and hurt me really bad. But this place that I am in right now feels so free, even though it's very uncomfortable. So, one part of my business that I have struggled with, because it was never supposed to be a part of my business, let me just say that, okay, is my hair salon. I started my hair salon for the intention and the use of others. I'm gonna say that again. I started my hair salon for the intention and the use of others. And I also started my hair salon because I could. And all those reasons are dangerous. And God has given me so much grace, and I had so much, you know what I mean, good things that came from my salon, but I had a lot of painful, ugly parts that came from it as well. And it's like, I knew years ago that God was telling me to let go of my salon, but I kept holding on to it because of other people, me being responsible for them, and also me living up to a perception of how other people seen me as a business owner, as a wife, as a friend, even as a mother, as an employee, as a boss, as a CEO. And none of that had anything to do with how God seen me. So anyway, as I'm going through this journey, it has become harder and harder because I'm holding on to something that I never was supposed to have or birth, or, you know what I mean, or do the way that I did it. I'm gonna say that, the way that I did it and the way that I done it. And I had God grace that carried me through it, but grace expires and runs out. And I'm at that place. And through that, with my hair salon, I was just in Texas a few months ago, and I had to make a decision with my hair salon. And you know, the owner of the salon, they wanted me to sign a contract, and I just wasn't really, You know what I mean? I wasn't in a place that really allowed me to sign it. For some reason, there was a lot of resistance within me. And I knew I wasn't supposed to sign it. So I kind of was like, you know what I mean? Just pausing it out, stalling it out, and praying and asking God for direction, because I wanted to make sure I made the right decision. So in doing that, and me not legally binding myself to that place, but at the same time still owing the money for that place, they sent me a text message, and basically it was like they're gonna lock my store and kick me out on Sunday. And I received this text message on Saturday, because they was like, look, we had enough of your stuff. Because I kind of was ignoring them, because I was trying to make sure I made the right decision. And also, financially, I knew that burden, my life didn't afford it. My life didn't afford it, because God has been taking me through a season where he has been rearranging and decomposing things in my life. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother YouTube. So anyway, fear immediately gripped me, and a lot of other things. But in the midst of that, I was like, you know what? I'm going to believe God. I'm going to believe God. And I was like, my desire, God, and my prayer, God, is that you can give me, till the end of the month, to get my affairs in order, to get my staff in order, and to make a decision done in decency and order. And if anybody knows me, they know that I'm a free spirit. I just flow. You know what I mean? God is teaching me how to flow in decency and order, because, I can dysfunctionally function. So that was a lot for me to say. And I remember my mom was like, no, you just need 2 weeks. Just get your stuff and get out. That's such a mom, right? Your mom is like, you know what I mean? They don't want you. You don't want them. Get your stuff, get out. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I knew it was bigger than me, because, I knew I had people that were connected to me. And I wanted to make sure, not necessarily for myself, but that they were good. Because if it was just me, I'd have been like, lock the doors. Lock the doors. Nobody got to know. I fall on the sword. You know what I mean? I killed me. But because it was somebody else, I just couldn't do that. You know what I mean? I can't sacrifice myself to sacrifice the people that's under me that can hurt, harm, or put them in a position. That's just not something that's in me to do. So I was more concerned for them and them getting their things done in decency and order, and honestly for myself. So in doing that, I had to meet with them now on this Monday. And this Monday, I was like, God, I have nothing, you know what I mean? I have nothing to offer when I go talk to these people about this salon. Like, you know what I mean? My deposits ain't hit yet. You know what I mean? I got money tied up into this aspect. I got this going on. I don't have nothing today. I don't got nothing today, but you. And God was like, that's all you need. But that was a very terrifying place, because in doing business, if you can't produce something, if you can't give people money, and all my life I have been seen as an object of money. I'm just being honest with you. People have always seen me as an object of money, for usury, for using me, for abusing me, for manipulating me. I have been terribly used in all those areas when it comes to money. And in doing that, it affected my mind, as if I don't have money, or I can't give into something, or I can't pay for something, then I don't have nothing at all, and I'm not of any type of use. Like, what good am I? So I was like, God, I don't want to go down there, and I don't have nothing for them, and I don't want to sign this contract. And God was like, I am all that you need. So I was like, you know what I mean? This is very weird, humbling, embarrassing, shameful, an awkward place for me to be in. But if this is what you're telling me to do, I'm going to do it. And I even tried to get out of it. I ain't going to hold you. So I called my husband. I was like, can't I just call them? He like, unfortunately, you got to go talk to them face to face. And God reminded me of him being in the garden. And all of a sudden, that spirit of nevertheless came over me. That nevertheless spirit. Not my will, but your will be done, nevertheless. And Jesus reminded me, because a lot of good things have been happening in my life, but there's been a lot of things that are being uprooted and torn down. And God reminded me in that journey of how, he was being celebrated on a donkey, of how he was breaking bread with his friends. But in the midst of that, he knew he was going to be betrayed. In the midst of that, he knew that his friends were going to deny him and speak against him behind his back. In the midst of that, he knew that his friends was going to fall asleep on him. In the midst of him being in the most mental agonizing point in his life, of him mentally preparing himself for the suffering, okay? Not even getting to the place of physically enduring it, but mentally preparing yourself for the dying away. God reminded me of that, and the nevertheless came over me, and I was like, you know what, God, nevertheless I go down there, nevertheless how I look, nevertheless how I feel, nevertheless of what I don't have. If you're telling me to do this, I trust you enough that let your will be done. Thy will be done, thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. As it is in heaven. And give me my daily bread, even if my daily bread and all that my daily bread is not a physical and touchable man-made thing called money, but all my daily bread is you. Give me that portion, and that is enough. And I went down there and I had a conversation with them, and I told them honestly everything I'm telling you now, and I let them know that what I will do on Friday is give them 1 month rent. And God provided, and I was able to give them that 1 month rent. But I'm like, I need to know what's going to happen to my staff so I can mentally prepare them. And in doing that, I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought honestly they was going to say 2 weeks. And I kind of had my staff on standstill. But I received a text message saying that basically with you giving us the 1 month rent, you have to the end of the month. And that right there to me meant so much, because my prayer was, God, let me just have to the end of the month so that I can do things in decency and order. Because I know you're a God of decency and order, and I want to be like you. And if you know me, you know that's huge. So that right there was just so blessed to me. And then also in doing that, you know, I started getting things together and presenting things to my staff so they can get things together. Within that same week, I received a call that my next door neighbor, the pizza store, they contacted me and was like, hey, we want to take over your lease. And I was like, what you saying? They like, we want to take over your lease. So I'm like, this sounds very alluring, but at the same time, I also seen slavery, because I was like, I don't want to get looped back into something that I know isn't for me. So I did something else, which is in decency and order. And I said, let's just set up a meeting and let's talk. We set up a meeting and talked. And at the end of that meeting, God put me in a position that with me closing down my salon and closing it down in decency and order, the next door neighbor is buying everything from me inside of the salon. So I don't even have to pack a box. All I got to do is remove my name, take my personal belongings, and now I'm walking away with a check. I say all this to say that when we are obedient to God, even when it doesn't make sense, when we're obedient to God, that even when it looks painful and shameful and embarrassing, when we're obedient to God, even when it goes against our own intellect, when we're obedient to God, when it goes against the way people perceive us or how we think they perceive us, God will do the impossible for you. God will really manifest that scripture where it say, no eyes have seen, no ears have heard, all that I am about to do in you. This is where God is taking me with Dare to Have Hair. I have made a lot of mistakes with Dare to Have Hair. I can stand before y'all today and let y'all know that I have failed in so many areas of Dare to Have Hair, from my production to my order fulfillment, to my communication with my customers, to my storefront. But God is taking my nevertheless and doing something great in it. Doing something great in it, even though I don't know what I'm doing. This is where I'm at, where the sign is now off of my store. I'm trying to get this door open. How do I open this? The glass. The sign now is off of my store. What I had great anxiety over, Dare to Have Hair has been removed from off the outside of the store. Because one of the things God said to me when I was going through that process, he said, Deshawn, why are you trying to hold on to this little piece of property when I am trying to put your name around the world, not just on this storefront, but around the world. And I'm here to tell y'all today that I have never experienced this level of peace in my life, even though it was so uncomfortable for me to get to this place. Me letting go of something that was holding me back and holding me hostage in slavery has been the most freeing place in my life. So I just want to encourage y'all on this journey that I'm going through with Dare to Have Hair. All the people that have rocked out with me throughout this process, even though I might have let y'all down, even though I might have hurt y'all, I don't know, but I pray also that I brought you guys some joy. This is where I am. This is where I am, naked, exposed, and honest, and letting you guys know that a girl that doesn't have a high school diploma, a girl that has been sexually abused from pretty much since I can remember, the age of 2 or maybe even 1 up into high school, the teen mom, the girl that's been in domestic relationships, the girl that got into a marriage with so much hurt and pain that I didn't even know how to be a wife. God has done all of this for me. Like, y'all just looking at the outside looking in, but I'm just here to let y'all know that if God can do this in me, what y'all have seen and what he's doing more, then he can do it for y'all. I've never been to college. I don't have a high school diploma. I'm a high school dropout. I was a teen mom. I was sexually abused pretty much my whole life until me walking into adulthood. And my God, and you know, I suffer a great deal, but God still looked at me and said, I'm going to spread your business and your name across the world. So I encourage y'all to just know that if he did this for me, he's doing this for me, imagine what he's going to do for you. Bye.